mentioned in the last video, I've been having a little hip achy pain, starting to run a lot, so I'm making sure I'm staying on top of it, doing as much as I can to get rid of it, make my hips stronger. So I'm gonna go through all my exercises, kind of explain what I'm thinking, how much I'm doing. I'm doing most of these every day, which sounds excessive, but it's not, because I'm not doing a ton of reps, not a ton of volume right now, just enough to get my hips ready, especially right before I run, because I'm about to go run. So first thing, yoga ball. This thing's my favorite. It's like a lacrosse ball, but it's softer, so it doesn't hurt very bad. I like to use it for my psoas release. I'm not 100% sure what the deal is with my hip, so it's my right hip. It's very clicky and starts to hurt in the posterior area when I run a lot. I can feel when I get lazy and I start like letting my hips slouch. So the last thing you want when you're on one leg is to let that hip go out this way. You always want it to be tall and activated. And when you're tired and a muscle's weak, it's gonna happen. So I'm trying to avoid that. So step one is to release my hip flexors. I do both sides, even though the right side is really my problem area. So that's what I'm gonna do first. Lay on the yoga ball. So your psoas is actually located like halfway point between your belly button and your hip bone. So if you kind of go like this, it's usually right in there. Some people have a hard time finding it. Yes, you're going over your guts. You're not gonna hurt anything. It's kind of uncomfortable, but you get used to it. And you wanna make sure you really relax so you can let it get to your psoas, because it's behind your intestines. So as soon as I find a spot that's tight, mine's actually tighter up higher today. So I kind of roll it around. If it's really bad, I stay on one spot. It's a pretty long muscle, so don't be afraid to move up and down quite a distance when you do it. Next, this is a pretty thick band. I'm gonna do some glute bridges with it. Standard glute bridges. So what I'm thinking about with these, number one, spinal neutral position. You never wanna be overarched or over flexed the other way. So right neutral, squeeze your core, squeeze your butt, lift from your butt, squeeze at the top and lower slowly. Sometimes it sounds weird, but I like to feel my butt as I do it so I can feel the muscle squeezing. That really helps the brain-muscle connection if you can feel it. So a huge misconception, especially in CrossFit, you see it a lot. Like people come to the gym and say like, oh, my shoulder, my knee hurts, or something hurts. So they think what they should do is take 2 weeks off or completely avoid using that body part and come back, and they're shocked when a week or two later it comes back, same pain, sometimes worse. Because you're not fixing the problem, you're not addressing the issue. Usually, I mean, unless you like need surgery or something, which are, you know, rare circumstances, you need to address the pain, you need to strengthen that area. There's a reason that that muscle, tendon, joint that's hurting or screaming at you is because something around it is weak or unstable, or something's too stiff. So you need to go see someone who can help you figure out what the problem is and then learn how to fix it, and you have to work on it every single day. The worst thing about injuries is that they're annoying and you have to work on them, and a lot of people think like, I'm gonna do exercises one time, or I'm gonna ice my knee one time and take a couple days off and it doesn't go away. Like, the hard reality is that is not how it works, and you have to truly work on it just as much as you would work on your strength of your back squat. Like, you're not gonna PR your back squat by not working on your back squat. You have to work on it. It's the same way with injuries, and I think if we can change that perception and people realize that, it would make it a lot less painful, you know, emotionally painful to work on things and get better at it, and just realize that it's just another weakness that you have to strengthen, and it's not just like something's wrong with you. It's very normal. Everyone has pain, everyone has aches. It's just learning your body and learning how to work on them. Doing his banded walks. Very picky about this one. Everyone does them wrong and it drives me crazy. So when you walk, you're not supposed to just swing your body and use momentum. I'm not using my hips at all. You might feel a little burn just because you're gonna use your hips a little bit, but this exercise is supposed to be very particular and focused. So when I'm going that way, I'm actually using this hip more than this one. Obviously I'm initiating the step with this one, but the goal is to not let this knee come in. You wanna keep that hip engaged, keep that knee pushed out. So as I'm walking, I'm thinking about pressing out with my back leg. So I'll walk this way, You're gonna feel both working, obviously, because you're still working this one. And then when I go this way, the same thing. This hip, staying planted, you're getting that plant control. This gives you that stance control, which is great to help with running. Next one, we are going to be activating the hip flexors. So we did a release on the hip flexors, got the glutes firing, and now we want to activate the hip flexors, especially for running. It's important. It's important to activate the hip flexors. So keeping the band here, I'm just driving up. I like to do one leg at a time. Really keeping my core nice and tight, not moving my body around or swinging my leg. It's a slow, controlled. And while you're doing it, you can focus on the stance control on this leg, keeping that hip and knee engaged as you're working the hip flexor on this side. One of my favorite exercises, like a single leg step down. So we're working the same idea here. This leg, keeping it nice and controlled, knee out, hip engaged, dropping down to the heel tap and back up. We don't want the knee going super far over the toe. We don't want moving in the trunk very much. It's just a low dip, back up. I usually do at least 10 to 15 each side, 2 sets. So now we're getting ready to run. I'm running with my friend Jen. This is Jen. So we just did like a 10-minute warm-up, run around the block a little bit, and then we're gonna do some like running, line drills, and then we'll head off to our run for the day. So not super exciting, but making sure we're nice and warmed up. I have a history of just like going to the track and just doing my running workout and feeling terrible for the first half of it. So I'm trying to like make sure I'm ready to go and feeling warmed up right when I start my run instead of using half of my run as a warm-up. So, the workout today was just a 10-minute warm-up, line drills, making sure everything's warmed up, ready to go, and then just a 2-mile run at an easy, moderate pace. So not super easy, but enough that we can hold a conversation throughout. We're slowly just building my running volume right now, so we're not doing any sort of intensity or intervals in running yet for the next couple of weeks, just building the base of getting more mileage in. So that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Make sure you hit the like bucket. I say it every time. Okay. This is actually hard to say, so if you're making fun of me right now, you need to try this. So hit the like button and make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.